Hello, my name's Colin Hay. This is Talking Terroir. In my glass this evening, I have Chateau d'Aiguille. Chateau d'Aiguille, 2008. This is from Côte de Castillon, and it's produced by a very famous producer, renowned really for his Saint-Emilion wines, the Comte Stéphane von Nippel. He's probably best known for his micro cuvée La Mondotte, which is a very expensive but very stylish Saint-Emilion wine, and also the Canon Lagafelière, Clos de l'Oratoir, and also some of his other wines. He has a fantastic Pessac wine, Clos Marcelette in Rouge and Blanc, red and white, which is rather like the Chateau d'Aiguille in that it's a very good value wine. So this is the Chateau d'Aiguille from the Côte de Castillon, is a wine which by virtue of being in Côte de Castillon doesn't sell at anything like the price of von Nippel's Saint-Emilion wines, but it's very much of that kind of quality. 2008 is a good value vintage, which is now, we would imagine, with a wine like this approaching its drinking window. So what do we have here? Well, in the glass, as you can see, this is very dark, this is very rich, quite an extracted wine in that sort of modern Saint-Emilion style, and that's very much what we get on the nose. If we give this a swirl, what do we get? We get a nice blend, a nice balance of, on the one hand, that sort of toasty, vanilla tinted oak that we associate with modern Saint-Emilion wines, but also lots of dark, rich fruit, and that fruit is also slightly fresh, and that's very appealing. That's very nice. So this is not an over-the-top modern sort of Parker appeasing fruit bomb kind of a wine. This is a sort of balanced but still modern Saint-Emilion style wine, very much in the von Nippel kind of mould, I think. And this is a wine which, if it were smuggled into a Saint-Emilion tasting, I think would perform very well indeed, and you wouldn't pick it out necessarily as coming from Côte de Castillon. Let's see what it's like on the palate and in the mouth. But it's still young, it's still quite backward. This is a wine which, yes, it's entering its drinking period, but it could benefit from being put in a decanter for a couple of hours. It needs a little bit more air, but it's full of promise. Again, I'm struck by the dark berry fruit, basically. We're talking about sort of blueberries and brambles, maybe damsons and plums as well. Nice fruit, but a sort of freshness there which is also appealing. The oak is present, and it helps round out the tannins, I think, and it helps reinforce the fruit, but it's not really detracting from that fruit. It's adding something, and that's nice to see. Sometimes these wines, particularly when they're young, there's a sort of bit of a battle going on between the toasty new oak on the one hand and the fruit on the other, and you sometimes think that perhaps the fruit's going to fade before the oak has had a chance to absorb the flavours and marry together. I think that's not the case in this one. This is sort of subtly done, so this is rather nice. Another thing which strikes me, which is particularly nice about this wine, is a sort of spicy notes, perhaps cloves or nutmeg, and that's rather nice. You detect this, I think, in a number of these 2008 wines, actually. But overall, lots of promise here. This is going to be a good wine. It's not quite ready for drinking yet, or at least it could benefit from a little bit more aeration. But this would actually be good with food already. Good length, good balance. The tannins are soft and round. Plenty of ripeness in this wine. This is very impressive. In general, then, what we have here is a kind of proto Saint-Emilion, a kind of wine that you can buy for a fraction of the price that you would have to pay for a Saint-Emilion of this kind of quality. A wine that you can afford to drink during the week, at the weekend, without breaking the bank. This is a good wine, and it's a very good value for money. On that topic, too, it's worth considering von Nieper's second wine here, the Seigneur d'Aiguille, as it's called. This is a wine that's not produced in very large quantities. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to track down, but if you can track it down, it is a fantastic value wine. For 10–11 euros a bottle, you're drinking something which comes from very good terroir, very well made, and immediately drinkable as soon as it's in bottle. Unlike this wine, which is 2008, so it's already been in bottle for quite a while, and it's still not fully ready for drinking yet. But overall, these two wines, as it were, from Côte de Castillon, from von Nieper, are an indication, I think, of the quality of the wine that's being produced in these kind of areas. These terroirs, which are often very close to prime Saint-Emilion sites, not very far away from some very expensive and very highly sought after terroir, are available for a fraction of the price, and are of very great quality. So Côte de Castillon is worth looking out for, especially as with here, where you have the combination of super terroir and a super producer. Highly recommended.